Hello, I'm Paul.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Ben.
And welcome to the Film Busters podcast. The film show with no filters, no prisoners taken, loads of disagreements, but one hell of a love for cinema.
If you want to hear three friends ridiculing each other for an hour or so regarding their taste in films, then you have come to the right place.
In each episode, one of the team picks a film for us to discuss. It could be anything from a recent cinema release to an all-time classic.
So, strap in and get ready to get mad or get vindicated as we guide you through the murky world of being a film geek.
If you like what you hear, you can also find us on Twitter and Instagram using @FilmbustersPod. You can also find each of our individual accounts. I'm at Filmbusters Paul.
I'm at Filmbusters Adam.
And I'm at Filmbusters Ben.
If you want to use your eyes instead of your ears, you can also visit the website at filmbusтерspod.co.uk.
And if busting makes you feel good, you can also support us at patreon.com/filmbusters for exclusive content.
Alright, can we just get on with this now, please?
Filmbusters.
So I see in passing, and I haven't clicked on it, that the trailer has released for Gladiator 2.
Has it? Oh,
Yes.
I didn't even know that.
Come out of nowhere. But I'm not going to watch it. The trailer, I mean.
There's loads of films that seem to just drop their trailers out of nowhere. Like that Furiosa trailer came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And now there's like just happening, just like boom.
I don't think trailers matter as much anymore because everyone just... I don't think there's anticipation for films in the same way that there was. Like a trailer would come out and there would be an event leading up to the film. Now, because people just consume and burn through film like nobody's business, it's more disposable, so trailers are less of a thing. There's been more of a fuss made about the GTA 6 trailer.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, that's because that's fucking 13 years.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful. And I mean...
it wasn't beautiful. It's very well shot, but it's like I'm not more hyped because of the trailer. I'm hyped that we're finally getting the game. The trailer just looks generic.
It just feels around the corner, so it's like, oh,
yeah,
we're so close.
Got like 2 years.
They have to release the online element of Grand Theft Auto 6 almost immediately, because if they're like, yeah, here's the narrative and we'll drop online in like 6 months, people will
They always
riot.
do that though. They've done that for like the last 4 now, haven't they? Or those for 2 that have had online, they've always come like a year later.
I don't think that's true.
Really?
The first time I played Grand Theft
like
Auto 5, I went straight into online.
No, that definitely came out about a year afterwards. Because there was like such a big thing about it when it came out. It was like a whole new game coming out.
They do really need to lean into the online this time. I feel like because of how long the distance is between the games, they could easily like reap the rewards of making. Imagine like a like what's the World of Magic the Gathering kind of thing. Do you know how like it's an online platform that's like you release packs and there's new missions and if they make it like
that's barely what they do at the moment
amazing.
though, isn't it? They just release like the new things you go out and buy and then
it didn't feel like there was an element of I've got to wait around for players to join and everything like this, and that's the kind of bit that was annoying. But I feel they can make it a little bit more streamlined.
The servers at the beginning were awful as well. Like you would get kicked constantly.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Would happen. But they've worked that out. It actually launched 2 weeks after release.
2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought it was months.
Adam going on about a year later. See, Adam is the art of the bullshitter. All you need to do, even when you have no idea, is say it with conviction and belief, and people go, "Oh, he sounds like he knows what he's talking about." Talking fucking rubbish.
Well, it came out on PC ages afterwards as well, didn't it?
It came out the day after, mate.
Because that's the whole thing of like they're saying now they're only coming out on console, and people are like, PC. It's been the same before.
I mean, interestingly, I was talking to someone the other day who he did a thing at university. I can't remember what he studied, some psychology and something, and he was talking about how people connect emotionally to places, not times, places. So if they're in a certain area, there is an emotional connection to that area because they forge memories and whatnot, and they get great nostalgia for it. But he said that as part of his study, something that had happened in the last 5 years particularly was this intense focus on people having emotional, nostalgic connections to video game areas. And Grand Theft Auto, the online element of Grand Theft Auto in particular, because so many people connected with people there, played with friends there more than they saw their friends in the real world. They encountered their friends within the online element of Grand Theft Auto. So when they think of San Andreas or whatever that place was called, they think of their friends, they think of a fun time, Los Santos. They think of good times and whatnot, more so than when they think of places in the real world.
That's interesting. I mean, I can easily just picture exactly me and you, Ben, next to that car mod place, and it's down like a little ramp, and we all just hang out there.
Yeah,
and it's along that big freeway. It's like we always used to be in that place.
I know. Going and try and shop all sorts of fucking things. It's just it is like Second Life. Do you remember Second Life?
I do. That was weird.
It was weird.
It's a weird little place.
It felt like Second Life was a precursor. It was kind of ahead of the game. They just clearly didn't have the tech to make it engaging enough. But it was that thing of log on and be someone else.
Yeah.
Online in this weird atmosphere.
I feel like they need your characters to talk on online this year. There's so much.
Why? Why do you need your character to talk?
Because
mate?
it needs an extra level of personality. It needs some.
GTA 3, you never spoke.
I know you didn't speak at all, but now you get characters that speak. You can connect with them a bit more, and it's a bit like, I don't know, the ones that gives the actual storyline characters that is they actually have their backgrounds on it.
But you are the character online, Adam.
I know, but you could be able to, more creation in the way the way they speak and the way they do stuff, and like
maybe they'll do that.
Influences, like you can pick 20 backstories or something.
Mate, you are supposed to be the person though. You haven't got to wonder. You're meant to be creating an avatar that is you.
You want them to interact with characters in that way. They just stand there and get talked at.
Adam wants someone to like fill in the life that he's missing in real life.
Quite, yes.
He's a lizard, remember? So he doesn't have a life.
No, it's just like
Adam needs that structured narrative.
You're just walking around with
How do I be human?
Yes.
It would be good if there was like, because everybody's got the same, I know everyone's got the same character and they'll just stand there in the same way, but when you could interact, if you could pick how the character interacts with people, I think that's what it was missing.
Well, you never know. That might be something they put in.
I just love the spontaneity of online, that you just never know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
Like even right now, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll play a little Grand Theft Auto after this, just see what happens.
I downloaded it again the other week.
It is a beauty.
Anyway,
right, well, we hope you enjoyed that Grand Theft Auto talk on Film Busters.
Yes.
I'm sure some people enjoyed it.
Yes.
Right, Adam, it's your pick today. What are we doing?
We are doing The Scarecrow from 1973, obviously, which stars Gene Hackman and Al Pacino.
Absolutely. It's the 1973 round, guys. This is the second film in a 1973 journey. Just off the back of Le Grand Bouffe.
Great feast. The big blowout.
This one just means Scarecrow.
This one's just Scarecrow. Yeah.
Before the film began, I was going to be like, I wonder if we'll talk during the film about why it's called Scarecrow, and then just like outright they explain it in like the first 15 minutes. Like, oh, well, that's gone.
Very good. Yeah, so 1973, it kicked off because our patrons, they love to tell us what year we're doing, and we all pick films from that year. You can become a patron at www.patreon.com/filmbusters and get exclusive episodes. You can come on the show. You can just tell us what films we're doing. It's all very wonderful over there. And excitingly, just to give everyone a little bit of a taster of what's coming, we're doing just for the main feed, we're doing a live commentary of Home Alone 3. And the patrons, they get a bloody video version of it and see us doing it as well. So
I forgot that. I forgot that we have to be on video for that. Of course, that's why we have the Christmas jumper on. Make sure you wear your Christmas jumpers, boys.
Okay.
Oh, I will be. I might get a bit of mulled wine, you know.
Please do.
Nice.
Please do.
Spicy.
The thing
Spiced wine.
For this Christmas episode, I've been saying to the boys in the lead up, we got to do it at a time when we can have a drink, because you can't do the Christmas commentary and not have some form of drink. So, Paul, make sure you get
have a drink at 11 a.m.
Yeah, Adam, some of us don't want to turn out to be alcoholics if we can help it.
It's one day of having a drink at 11 a.m. on Christmas. You're allowed it. On Christmas Day, you start drinking at 10.
Yeah, Christmas Day, it's allowed.
That's fine on Christmas Day, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, enough of Home Alone. You can have that next episode. Adam.
The drinking will be more fun than that terrible film, I'm sure.
Oh, yes, I'm sure it will be.
Have you seen Home Alone 3?
I don't think I've ever seen it in its entirety.
Same.
I just remember seeing bits and hating it.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be, pretty much.
Yeah, we'll just be slamming it all the way through. Christmas spirit will just be Grinches all the way through.
Yeah, we're fun regardless of how we feel. Let's move away from Home Alone. Let's talk about Scarecrow. Adam, do you want to do the staple of every episode?
Yes.
This is the decider potentially now.
Potentially.
Oh yes. Well, it would be because we're doing a quiz. We do a quiz next week.
We will.
We will, yeah. You got to think of the questions during the film, though.
Yeah.
Yes, that is true. So, are you ready for the questions on Scarecrow?
Yes, please.
You're doing Scarecrow questions?
So, I'm doing questions on films in 1973 because I didn't do the questions.
All right.
Do you want the scores?
I think so.
Yes, please.
Okay, so the scores is very tight. This could be very interesting going into the next round, if so. Paul has 27.5 points, I have 25 points, and Ben has 26.5 points. Are you ready for your questions?
I think so.
The highest grossing movie of 1973 won Best Screenplay. What is the film?
Exorcist.
Well done, Ben.
Just because I know that's a big film from that year. I wouldn't necessarily say it's best screenplay, but there you go.
I was also thinking, is this the 1973 Oscars or the 1972 films? I was going to say that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true, yeah. Thank God Adam didn't clarify.
Yes, exactly. Well done, Ben.
I'm level with you, Paul.
You are? Oh, yeah.
For the first time all year.
This caper film, set in September 1936, features a pair of grifters and was the second biggest making money film.
The score?
No.
Repeat that question.
This caper film,
set
in September 1936, features a pair of grifters and was a big money film. The second biggest money film of 1973.
1973?
Yeah.
Set in a pair of drifters in the 30s?
Yeah.
2 films about drifters in 1973?
They loved the Drifters.
Oh, mate.
The Drifters
I don't know
is
that
probably
one.
the biggest band.
I don't know that one. I'm going to say fucking... Don't know. I haven't even got
Oh
a
my
clue.
God, I know what it is. I know what it is.
You
I
shot
knew what
your
it was.
shot.
I got the wrong title.
What is
that was
it?
the name.
Well, you're going to say you're out, Ben, are you?
Yes, I'm out.
I'll let
I
Paul
don't
get
know.
it, but he's not going to get the point. He can just say
Yeah,
the
half
answer.
a point.
Go on. No half point. This has got to go to Adam. What is it?
The Sting.
Yeah, it's The Sting.
I thought that's what I was saying when I said the score.
Why did they like drifters so much in 73? I didn't even know what a drifter was, really.
The score is a De Niro film, right? The score?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's another score as well, perhaps.
Silly Paul. I got the wrong film.
Well, you knew it deep down inside.
I did. Because
You just knew it too late.
But deep down don't help nobody, baby.
Well, look how close everyone is now.
I know. Everything will change on the Christmas episode. The winner will be declared. Adam could be the host.
I declare.
I'm going to do 10 questions and cause absolute chaos.
Oh, God.
Oh, Jesus.
You won't be able to think of any questions.
No.
I'll be too busy talking to you guys and having fun.
Well, don't forget, when we're watching Home Alone 3, you'll have to think of the questions as we're watching.
Yeah.
And then you ask them over the end credits.
You can't do 2 things at once. Are you mad?
He can't do one thing at once.
Well, very good. What are the scores?
That puts you two on joint 27.5 and me on 26.
Beauty.
Wow.
So I would need you both to get it wrong.
That's
Win.
right. That's right.
Correct. He will make sure that won't happen.
Yeah. But me and you could make sure that we both just don't get the answers.
Exactly.
Adam is forced.
That'd be funny. Wonderful stuff. Right, should we move on to Scarecrow?
Yeah.
I'm behind you, 2-bit son of a bitch, you! Eat cantaloupe! You bootlegging rhinoceros!
Right, everyone, today we're doing Scarecrow from 1973 by Jerry Schatzberg. It's a spoiler episode, so if you've not seen the film, you might want to go watch it first, because we're going to spoil it terribly for you. There's been 2 people we've done in films before. Can you guess who they are?
The sister.
The sister,
and
yeah.
the child who goes in the fountain.
Exactly. Got it. Go on.
Well, we've had Hackman in French Connection.
Yeah.
Correct. That's it. That's all he's in.
Pacino, have we had in more than The Irishman?
Yep, 2.
We've had 2 films with Pacino in.
Yeah, Irishman's correct.
Irishman and...
We've done 2...
In a fleeting role.
Oh, in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Correct. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Go on, Adam.
Okay.
What's the plot of this film?
This is about 2 guys bumming around who have formed an
That's
unlikely
literally
friendship.
the plot summary on
Yeah.
Letterboxd.
Is that actually what they said, bumming around on
It
there?
said something along those lines.
And they open a car. Well, they go to open a car wash, and some events happen.
Or do they?
Or do they? Yes.
I said they go to.
That was...
Yeah.
we thought that was the title of the film last week, because when Adam was like, and this is the film, 2 drifters bumming around, and we're like, what? I've never even heard of that.
I mean, it would get straight to the point.
It would. Scarecrow is... Anyway, directed by Jerry Schatzberg in 1973 and starring Al Pacino, who had just completed The Godfather, and Gene Hackman, who had just finished French Connection. This film reunited Schatzberg with Pacino, having both worked together previously on Panic in Needle Park. Have you guys seen Panic in Needle Park?
I have it on my watch list to watch.
Very young Pacino. He becomes addicted to heroin. Him and this girl in New York become addicted to heroin. Very grueling.
Okay.
And Pacino, in the same year, would release Serpico, which he filmed directly after making this. When the idea was originally conceived, both Bill Cosby and Jack Lemmon were considered for the leading roles. This was due to Warner Brothers looking to find success in small budget films as they became less convinced of the success of larger projects. Who do you think Bill Cosby would have played, and who do you think Jack Lemmon would have played?
Bill Cosby's got to be Al Pacino, hasn't he?
I don't know. I feel like Bill Cosby would be the Grouch and Jack Lemmon would be the...
Yeah, I'd say the same.
Although I just can't see it working. I just could not see that working anyway. Although, yeah, you're right, Adam. Actually, Cosby would have been young, whereas Jack Lemmon would have been a bit older. So maybe. Anyway, Pacino said it was the best script he has ever read, and Hackman said it's the best film he ever made. The 2 actors would take to the streets and pretend to be beggars to get into the mindset of the characters before filming began. But Pacino...
method.
Yes, but Pacino was much more of a method actor than Hackman, which actually led to them rubbing each other up the wrong way. Pacino would stay in character in between filming scenes, and before they would shoot a scene, he would jump up and down and run to prepare for a take, whereas Hackman preferred stillness and silence. Pacino later said it wasn't the easiest working with Hackman, although I love him as an actor. The film was shot entirely chronologically, with the cast and crew travelling from state to state as the characters did, and though the film bombed on its initial release, it found a following years later after having been unavailable on home media for decades. Its cult following led to director Schatzberg to conceive a sequel, and a screenplay was written in 2013. The sequel would follow Max and Francis years later after Francis learns that his son is actually alive, but the sequel fell apart because of the studio's lack of support and Hackman's retirement from acting. What did you say, Adam?
Well, there was massive spoilers there.
Well,
we've already done it.
already
Give
done
them the
it.
spoiler warning.
Yes.
Okay.
Very good. A sequel to this film, eh? Okay.
Every film that we've covered recently has been like, and then here's the sequel idea, here's the sequel idea. Or not
true.
Le Grand Boeuf. There's no sequel to Le Grand Boeuf. No, I would. We did talk about a remake, though. If it was made today, who would do it?
That's true, yeah. I mean, I'll just be wondering what happened to, what's her name? Audrey? Angela?
Andrea.
Andrea, that's it.
Yeah.
I wonder what happens to her when she goes back into the house. That's the sequel idea.
Very good.
Yeah.
She ate all of them, and it became a cannibal film.
Oh, baby, yeah. Right.
And then Jeffrey
Adam?
Jones popped up from Ferris Bueller and was like, hey, what am I doing? I'm just in this outpost here in America. And it's like, oh, it's actually Ravenous Part 2 as well.
Oh, my God.
That's a niche reference for our dear listeners
Very
who know
niche.
what we've covered.
Right, Adam, it's your pick. You decide whose first impressions you want first.
Ooh. I'm going to go with Ben, me, then Paul. So reverse film busters.
God, again.
Okay.
You said last week that you haven't been first for a while, so
I haven't. Now I have back-to-back first.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
keep you on your toes, mate.
Yeah. Well, I love Al Pacino, and I've seen so many of his films, but this one has just always been on the watch list. I've never seen. I don't know why that is. So I was glad that you finally brought this up so that I could tick it off the list. And I found it so emotionally engaging, more so than many films that I've seen. I thought it was a really good look at loneliness, friendship, and how comfort can be found in some of the weirdest places or the unlikeliest of places. I really liked, and we'll talk about this, I really liked how it shows how both being, and to use your tattoo, Adam, carefree and relaxed or jovial, but also being rigid and sticking to a predetermined path, are both not conducive to a well-lived life. There needs to be a sort of middle ground. And I like how we see different situations and how the approach to engage with them through anger and toughness might not necessarily be as unhealthy as it seems, whereas treating these things in a light-hearted way and putting on a bit of a clown face might actually be more damaging. Because at the end, the man who throughout has been in touch with his anger has learned to be softer and has come to the middle ground, whereas the man Pacino, who has tried to be a bit of a clown and use humor and diminutive performance to do away with difficult situations, it almost gets destroyed by the world. I like that anger and frustration being voiced. You know me, boys. All listeners know me. I like that anger and frustration and voicing complaints and whatnot, kind of in a way, is presented as healthier than pretending it's not happening. They're pretending everything is fine. But we can discuss perception of that in the episode. Ultimately, as different as both of these men were, I loved how they were both human. They were both looking for connection and purpose in life, and they find it in each other. And the car wash dream doesn't matter. Everyone has a dream in life, but people can forget along the way that there may be other things, other people, other places, other ways of life and all of that stuff. And you shouldn't just be so hard bent set on it. And all of it comes down to how good Pacino and Hackman are. There's lots of good things about this film, but ultimately, if you don't have a great performance from Pacino, you don't have a great performance from Hackman, this film falls apart. And they are amazing. It was shot beautifully. That's good. It felt like a real 70s film at a time. All good. But Pacino and Hackman absolutely bang it out of the park for me. It's a very, very strong film. Very sweet. Very tragic. Lots of heart. Lots of humour. I really enjoyed this one.
Good. Okay. So I first of all want to say, they're incredible, and I can't imagine this film being good with anybody else in it, or anyone up to their level. It has to be really carried by your main two characters. Like, the script is good, but like, it's only as good as these two portray. It's never gonna be a film that can stand on its own with an actor in the front who's okay. These guys have to be a bit like Le Grand Booth was a very good script and the actors weren't. Another one was incredible, whereas these two, it's the other way around. It has to be incredible for you to feel what these two are going through. It's great. They say it's journey. I feel like you're going to remember this film for the moments in this film, and I feel like it is a very this moment happens, this moment happens, this moment happens kind of film. So, but overall, it's engaging, and there is some moments in this film that literally had you with your mouth like, oh my god. It did that, like, the savagery of like life was coming out of the blue. But overall it's a good film and I very much enjoyed it.
Okay.
Very good. Okay. I think it's just lovely, isn't it, seeing two solid actors just working their muscles, and especially Al Pacino, because it just feels so special seeing him do his thing at like such a young age as this. But as for the actual story, I liked it, but mostly thought it was quite aimless. It's one of those that I as I imagined, I thought Ben would love, as it's like heavy dialogue, very introspective stuff that kind of leaves you with as they're saying, metaphors of scarecrows and laugh crows. I thought you would love it, and I was correct. But other than some nice moments, as a big picture, I think it's pretty forgettable for me. It's just not. I don't think it's my kind of film. So that's my initial impressions.
Wow. I think that's what I mean when I said there's moments of this film. Like, you will remember the moments, you won't remember how they got between those moments.
Well, I think you're right. You're right. It is aimless. But 50% is that's kind of the point, because that's in a way, apart from the car wash, bumming they are around. Drifters. They're bumming around. But also, that's just how films were in that time period, which I quite like. We don't have the structured beats that we have nowadays and the clear narrative. Back then, there was things like, and don't get me wrong, there were moments in this film where I was like, what's the point in this? Case in point, they go to that bar, get drunk after they have the dance and punch out that guy, and then Pacino's in that welder's outfit, and they're all doing a conga line with everyone from the bar, and it's like,
I know, random.
This is a bit
like
self-indulgent. Yeah, that's total 70s self-indulgence. Like, I don't know that you would get away with that nowadays. I'm not saying it was better or worse then, but it's kind of like, this is indulging a director's vision, and that's what's nice, because it kind of feels like, well, that feels like that director's vision, whereas nowadays the director wouldn't be allowed to do that, and it would be a studio's fucking vision or a streaming platform's vision instead.
Not in every case, though.
Not in every case. But yes, you're right, I do like that more aimless kind of film as well.
It's basically like a mindset film. You're just getting into the groove of these people and getting into their way of life.
Yeah.
Even to the bit where, I know you say about this conga one, the one where they're in the other bar and they have this kind of altercation with this woman, and then Gene Hackman ends up sleeping with her, and then Al Pacino's bringing back a mannequin.
Yeah.
There's like a whole sequence of a mannequin. It's like, what is going on? Is he about to sleep with this mannequin? Are they having a threesome? What's going on?
Well, I mean, there is 100%. Apart from what happens when they go to the sort of halfway house prison, there's definitely a homoerotic subtext in the film, which makes you think potentially there was a threesome that was about to take place there. But I don't know that there was. I think it was just gag. I think it was just a joke by Pacino.
Yeah, but at the same time, you have the scene straight afterwards when they're walking on the train tracks, and it's almost the way they're like being very cagey about what they're saying. It's like, has something happened between these two? And they're kind of just trying to brush it under the carpet, because I can't remember exactly what he says to him. But Gene Hackman doesn't want to answer the question.
He says something about getting laid in prison. He was like, when you were in the joint for all those years.
Even closer look to that.
Yeah, I know.
So it kind of.
He doesn't even answer that, does he? He just cuts
he
to the next scene.
Yeah.
And then we go straight when they go to prison, and that's exactly the thing that happens.
Yeah. But there's also, even before that, when they first go to the motel together after they get kicked out of the kitchen washing job, Pacino's just having a shower naked in front of Hackman, and then they go to get to their beds, and then Hackman starts taking all his clothes off and getting into bed. Even at that point, I was like, what's happening here? Is there I think it was probably hinted at that potential threesome scene, but I don't actually think that there is.
I think it was more of Al Pacino's character just laughing and joking around, saying, you brought that girl home, I brought this girl home, and this is mannequin.
But the whole thing is that would do it a disservice, because it clearly is about connection and finding something in people that are different from you. When you're lonely, this is ultimately, it is very, very much about loneliness and about camaraderie and comfort in people when you don't feel like you have that in life. Like, both of these guys, when we're introduced to them, are completely, apart from Hackman, who has his dream of a car wash, he doesn't have people around him. Pacino
has estranged people.
Estranged people. Both of them have estranged people,
Yeah.
Pacino and his ex-girlfriend and kid that he hasn't seen, and Hackman and his sister. But, for Hackman, it's like, it's not about the person. I just need to get to that goal. My happiness is that car wash. And then he finds connection in a person, and he's like, okay, me and you will do the car wash. But he doesn't realise the thing that's important is Pacino. He realises it by the end of the film. That is more important. That's why it's so beautiful. There's so many tragic things that happen, but it's so fucking beautiful that at the end he's willing to, he gives up the dream. He buys that round ticket, and he's going to bring the money back for Pacino. The car wash doesn't matter, the person matters. It's
almost like the other was the missing piece for the other person, and they almost start on different ends of the spectrum, then cross paths and end up the opposite of where they started. As in, like, one of them was a Scarecrow, one of them was a Laugh-Crow, and they swap hats, as they say.
So I think I loved that they brought up what Scarecrow clearly meant 50 minutes into the film, because I'm like, great. For all its aimlessness of the film,
it grounds you, it anchors you to what it's
about. Exactly. It kind of goes, this is what this film is about, and now you don't have to work it out from the title after the film's ended. This is what it's about. Now watch it play out. And it played out so well. I thought it was a very interesting fucking premise. This idea of two men, one of whom is cold and harsh to the world in order to get by, and the other one who is so sensitive that it needs to
reminds me of
make
Bruges
situations.
Right, it was very much that kind of dynamic.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah, like the Gleason's the happy-go-lucky more than Colin.
My favorite scene in a bar was the one where they're taking the piss out of the uncle. Like, they start taking when he's drunk, and then that guy comes in. That's my uncle, and they just get in a fight, and then the fight doesn't lead anywhere, and the guy's just standing there in the background, like still ready to fight, while them two are just like having an argument between themselves. Oh, that's absolutely brilliant.
Well, it is brilliant. That's the turning point after everything that's happened, because that's where we see that Hackman has learnt the lesson from Pacino. He's learnt to be soft. He's learnt not to. He values Pacino. Pacino's going to leave, and he's like, hang on, and he realizes he needs to be soft. He diffuses that situation with the guy. He gets Pacino to stay, but then it's haunting seeing Pacino watch that scene, because after all the levity, all the jokes that he's been cracking, you see that smile slowly drop off his face because he's changed by what's happened. He realizes there is a harsh fucking world out there. And it is going to get through and break you down.
Yeah, they more like take lessons from each other, don't they? Because I don't think Gene Hackman truly changes, because straight off no, it's not in that scene, is it? That's the other bar scene. When does he have the fight with the guy? Is that the bit where he's dressed in the hazmat suit?
That's before prison. Yeah. Adam's talking about the one that happens after they come out of prison.
And they're more like joking around again, and they're like, "This is how you deal with the drunk."
Yeah, I was thinking that led on to the whole dance sequence, and then he decided he will beat the guy up, but that was before, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's why they got into prison. Yeah, true.
I think that the prison is where that was the crossroads, because we'd seen where they stood before prison. In prison, Hackman digs his heels in, and it's like, okay, he's been in this situation before. He knows in order to get by, you got to be tough. You got to put up a surly front. You can't take everyone's offer of friendship because you don't know what it means. So he digs his heels in. Pacino's naive. Pacino's like, come on.
Is it Pacino's annoyed at him because that's why they ended up in prison, or was it the other way around?
Hackman's annoyed at Pacino.
Yeah, even though Hackman was the one who did it.
Hackman did it, yeah. And Pacino's trying to be soft. And he's like, come on. And I knew when you meet this burn victim guy, who they never mention has burns all over his face and arms for some reason. That's another thing that's cool about the 70s. You would not get that now. If you introduce a character into your film halfway through who has burns all over their body like that,
you'd have to explain it.
You'd explain it. And you'd cast them specifically for it. Back then, in many ways, it was much more open back then, because it's like, no, well, so what? We just put him in. We don't have to explain it.
There's a guy in prison.
That's just a guy. You knew that he was going to ask for something. I thought he was going to try and get the money that they had in the bank at Pittsburgh.
Yeah, there was something seedy going on. You could see he was working out.
Yeah. But then when it got to that scene, and it's brilliantly performed by both actors in that scene where he's about to rape him, because Pacino is doing what so many people have tried to do in the past, which is try and diffuse what's a potentially explosive situation with humor, so that it doesn't go anywhere. When he's going, get back. He's doing Frankenstein's monster voice.
That's it, yeah. Igor.
Yeah.
You can see his little face slowly changing and more.
Yeah.
And that's horrible when he's literally trapped in the corner with his like crotch in his face. And it's like, oh man,
Imagine watching Pacino, like you've just watched him in The Godfather. You then go out and watch him in this, and then you go watch him in Serpico.
And what a fantastic actor to be able to do all three in a row, pretty much. Yeah. Like, I mean, he is there. There is just no real comparison contemporary actor
He's
who was as
just-
good as him in his heyday.
And every single... I've never seen him bad in a film, man.
I don't know. There's been some in the last 15 years or so that are a bit
But
shit.
even
But
the
Jack and
film
Jill.
itself is shit. But then in the moment, even in fucking Jack and Jill, he's great.
he's the best thing about Jack and Jill.
Still
he does
haven't
the
seen it.
Dunkachino. But I mean, it's a joy. It is a joy to see him at the top of his game back then. Like, I mean, he was 33. He was your age, Paul, and he was doing that right there and then. It's wild to me. It's wild to me also that, like, the power of this man. He made that film 13 years before I was born. My mum was 8 years old when Scarecrow was made and released. And here I am as a 37-year-old man watching this film that my mum wasn't old enough to see when it came out. And both guys are still alive today, still out there in the world. Something wild about that.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. I mean, there's no mistaking that this film has just got like two very powerful performances in. And that's what I really do like about this film.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I like this approach to life. It is saying something about life and how people approach it, and I like that it isn't actually saying one way or the other is better, because
they're both flawed. They're both flawed.
Yeah, and in a way it kind of ties in a little to what we were saying on the Ferris Bueller episode, that both are, the Bueller attitude to life is not great to have all the time. It's also not good to have the Cameron attitude to life all the time. There needs to be that middle ground. And
this is actually a good tie-in, those two films.
In a weird way.
Quite nice.
I
It's
thought it
very-
had a great tie-in with Grand LaBouffe. There were scenes when they're just sitting around eating food and just doing fuck all. Like, that is kind of these... And drinking and just getting... Like, there's no point to their day. They're just getting up and seeing where it takes them. And what happens in that day happens, like...
So I asked Jenny, what's the difference between being homeless and being a drifter? Because it was like, I couldn't really work it out, but it's like it's seemingly through choice that you're not just going to stay still and beg. You're going to try and make your way through life.
I think it's more like a nomad, isn't it? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You just don't have a place. You just constantly drift and move around the country or the world.
What did you think about that opening scene?
What when they're on the highway and quite
When
funny.
they're shouting at cars.
Yeah,
I thought he was shouting at him. I thought Gene Hackman was shouting at Al Pacino at first. I thought he was annoyed with him from the beginning. I was like, what the fuck's going on? Have I missed the beginning of this film or something?
Well, he was a bit annoyed at him at the beginning because he was trying to steal
definitely.
his spot.
Still was right. Yeah,
Even though Pacino was there first.
It instantly gets you in the groove, doesn't it, of the mindset of these two characters. And I like the little bit at the beginning with Gene Hackman stuck in the fence, which was quite funny. And I think it almost gives you a sense that, oh, this is going to be quite a light-hearted film, but then it leads you astray, because then it kind of stills your heart with those kind of moments, and then leads you on to the more darker stuff. So by the time it gets to those stuff, you're already
punches
involved.
in this film are sucker punches.
Well, it is that whole dynamic between Maxie and Francis, because they have the lightness and they have the harshness, and it's how the whole film plays out throughout. I just thought that opening shot was fucking beautiful, man. When they're on that highway for so long, the camera barely cuts as well. The weather is terrible. It's almost like they planned it. The wind kicking up all
with the
that dust
tumbleweed
and stuff. Yeah, and just the dust in their face is like so moody and atmospheric. Is very beautiful, really well shot. And these two guys just there, opposite side of the roads, like literally, metaphorically, they're opposite side of the roads, and they're trying to work each other out. They're sort of circling around each other. Can they get the measure of each other? Are these people that will make good bedfellows in the future or not? And then they bond over food. You're right, Adam. They go to that diner and then they bond over cornflakes and eggs and stuff.
But it's the power of the acting that you don't even need them to speak to understand what kind of personality they have. Like Al Pacino, just a little smirk on his face. Okay, he's like this kind of more happy-go-lucky kind of person.
Yeah.
Over Gene Hackman literally trying to ignore him and not even give him the time of day.
every time Gene Hackman pops up in anything, I always just assume he's going to be a bit of an arsehole, a bit of a grouch.
Yeah. That's just his play, isn't it?
I don't think I've ever seen him not playing. I'm trying to think. Have you ever seen Gene Hackman play someone who's like comic relief or soft?
I don't think I've seen him in many films, to be honest.
That's what I was saying to you before when I said, it's got Gene Hackman in it, but I haven't really.
I feel like he's the kind of actor you have seen in a lot of films. You just don't.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Because he is a good actor. He just doesn't. You don't ever really call him out in the same vein when you're talking about other actors. I mean, I think Pacino. If you had to pick one out of these two, Pacino is better. And not in an overacting way, just in a sort of. There's more to his performance.
I'll give you one. I can't imagine a grouchy person would be in this film, but he's in the Royal Tenenbaums.
Gene Hackman, I've seen the Royal Tenenbaums a long
one
time
of the
ago.
worst films.
Same.
I
can't remember it.
He is serious. He doesn't emote. He's kind of like that. He does that Bill Murray type performance.
Isn't that everybody in every Wes Anderson film?
Yes.
Horrendous stuff. Let me fire some questions at you boys. You know, why do you think Hackman wears his clothes all the time? All of his clothes at once?
That's what you do. You're ready to move. You're ready to go.
Yeah, but so is Pacino. But his is in a sack.
Is it to do with not wanting to kind of lose what he's got or share with other people? So he's like got everything on him.
Yeah.
So he's constantly in check with everything he owns.
Yeah, it's all right
Hence
there.
why he's got his money in his shoe.
Yes. Yeah. With him at all times. No one can take it from him because it's with him.
Yeah, I like that moment as well where you that woman he's sleeping with says, "He sleeps with a shoe under his pillow," and then you get the nice play at the end with the money in the shoe.
Yeah, and well, even before that, at the motel as well, Pacino says when he undresses, Pacino's like, "Why are you sleeping with your shoe under your pillow?" And he says, "None of your fucking business."
Oh, I missed that line.
Yeah,
actually.
he's done it twice.
Well,
I agree with that. I think he just wants it all close. He sees the world as very, very cold as well. So he just needs to be warm. And Pacino, by comparison, carries it in that big sort of navy sack. He's like literally carrying his baggage behind him, while Hackman has it on him, makes it his personality. But Pacino, he has all this baggage, emotional baggage, but it's disconnected from him.
Carrying that present around everywhere.
Carrying it around, yeah. Little lamp.
Yeah.
What?
And also, he also tends to just place it down, and you're like, "Come on, man, that's gonna get stolen."
Yeah.
I feel like he's never like, "Oh, I need to hold on to this just in case."
No. He's naive to the world in that respect, big time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll tell you the bit where the film I started thinking, I don't think I'm going to like this film, because I had been with it up until it took me a while to get my bearings as to who the woman was. But when Gene Hackman meets his sister, but at first it's not clear that it's his sister. I don't think.
I thought they would try to sleep with him again.
I thought it was an ex-girlfriend.
I thought that was his ex. Yeah. But then he's getting off with this other woman, and I'm like, what's the dynamic here? And it takes ages for them to mention it's sister. But I would say overall, when they meet those two women, the film, the 10-15 minutes there, I don't really get in line with it. I know they were building character for later, but I wasn't quite happy with that bit. I didn't like the one woman being very ditzy and sort of all over Gene Hackman, like, this man is quite horrible. And he has
clearly smells with all those fucking layers of clothes on.
KFC all over his face, and you want to kiss him with KFC in his mouth.
Maybe she likes KFC.
Maybe. But I do like the KFC scene because the drunken performance is brilliant from Hackman.
Yeah,
where
very
he's
good,
literally
very good.
itemizing all the money that he's got planned for the car wash. It's very natural.
Meticulously, like, even when he makes little mistakes, like, "Oh no, it's got to be correct. This is the actual correct."
And it gets followed up by that great scene when they go shopping for the handbag, and he's like, "Right, make a distraction," and then Pacino just starts running everywhere. To the point where even Hackman's like, "All I could do is watch this man.
If I see a man running, I'm going to look at him.
Do you reckon that was all like done on, like, they said to like Pacino, just do something to distract him, and he just ran around, like it was all on the whim, like it wasn't in a script?
I get the impression of a lot of this was ad-libbed throughout.
That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah. That's very funny. Just starts, because you would, if you saw that in the shop, everyone would just stop and be like, the fuck?
What's going on? You would instantly think he is stealing from the shop.
You would. and yeah, so it was kind of, even though that bit was good, it was kind of this whole segment up until the whole conga line thing where I was a bit like, nah, some of this is okay, like the KFC scene, but some of this is kind of like peddling and going nowhere.
Is this what the other film he's in is like as well, with this same director?
Well, that other film, that Panic in Needle Park, feels like it's totally improvised from what I remember. Okay. There's more of a story and structure here, I would say, than Panic in Needle Park. Panic in Needle Park is great, though.
Clearly this director likes to get into like an emotional groove of personalities rather than taking a straight down the line story. Yeah.
Which I like, and that's the thing. I just wish maybe that it'd been a little bit stronger when they stop off at the sisters and with this friend. I feel like they could have revealed a little something more at that point than what actually happened, because all that happened was it allowed a plot beat to take place, which was for Pacino to be like, oh yeah, why do we have to go to this place for the car wash? Why can't it be here? And it just kind of, I guess, it helps the audience go, yeah, like this is a human connection that Hackman can have here. His sister's here. He has this woman that he's only just met, but they're into each other. So why is he so determined? Forget that. I must get to this goal. Yeah. It's that pursuit of happiness because you've built it up in your mind that all I need is that thing. And probably because people have let him down in the past, he's like, I can't get connected too much to people.
Like strong bonds and stuff.
Yeah.
Needs to be fleeting.
Yeah.
It's true, yeah. For me, there definitely needed to be some. If you say like that, there was some like slight reveals during the dinner table scenes when they're kind of opening themselves up and getting familiar with each other.
Allowing you to discover these characters more than anything.
Yes, it is.
You need that time with these people to understand who they really are. So then later on, when the punches happen and the reveals happen, you know.
Yeah,
everything.
you need more casual sort of going. It reminds me a little bit actually of as great a film as Deer Hunter is. Right, you've both seen it.
Yeah.
Up to the point where they go to Vietnam, that first hour is painfully slow. The wedding scene goes on for fucking ages.
I remember most of the film being painfully slow.
I mean, it is a slow film. It is a good film, but it's not. Anyway, It's very slow up until Vietnam, and it goes hand in hand with what you're saying. That groundwork, just grounding to be like, this is what life was like before. But some films can do that, and you are engaged in that pre-catastrophe type thing, and other films less so. I do think that maybe there is a truth to what you're saying there, Adam, that because of them just talking aimlessly around the table and just encountering each other, it's more natural. So it's like, it kind of feels like you connect to them because they're just doing normal stuff rather than contrived dialogue, like I am saying this line because it means this for the plot and it advances this. Sometimes you can just shoot the shit. Like if the scene just calls for, right, around this dinner table, if the director's like, right, around this dinner table, Hackman, you need to be drunk and you need to be talking about how important the car wash is. Pacino, we need to see that your character's a bit more laid back about it and is kind of like just freewheeling. Go. And then as long as that happens, the director's like, okay, mission accomplished. And then it's up to the actors whether or not they put in a good enough performance, good enough dialogue that the audience will connect with.
I mean, especially as well, this Pacino's character is probably more relevant now than ever with being a man, basically someone who bottles their feelings up, who tries to go about their life just making a mockery of everything they come across, making things into a joke, to the point where even when these catastrophic things happen in your life, you kind of just make light of them and not really speak about them or literally work through it. Yeah. Hence why it implodes on him like that at the end.
That scene on the phone is just like, wow. It's just like, yeah, you didn't see that coming, man. And it's like that whole sequence that comes afterwards, that last 10-15, it's just like, it leaves you like, you've gone on these characters with this happy man, even though he's been through this shit, he still keeps his positivity in life, and now you just see him completely crumble in front of you and almost die.
That kid looks just like him.
It did. Very good casting. Yeah, absolutely.
Very good casting.
But that, yeah,
Does
it was
Al Pacino have a
horrible
kid
to
at that
see.
stage? It might have been his kid. He's just had a kid recently, hasn't he, Al Pacino?
Yes, absolutely disgustingly. Him and De Niro both.
I mean, it's heartbreaking though to see him come off that phone call and just be dancing around saying, "I've got a boy, I've got a boy." It's like, oh man, you shouldn't be bottling these feelings up with this.
I know. I mean,
And that fountain scene is just like, yeah.
that go on. Let's hear you. Let's hear your take on the fountain scene.
It's just like it's just a breakdown in front of you. It's like, and it's so well, just like you're kind of sitting there a bit like open mouth from what's just happened, and then you're seeing that, and you're like, fuck, like he's not even like in this film. You'd expect him to skimp over it almost. Like there's been moments that happen and they move on quite quickly, and then this is just like bang. It's just that full breakdown. It's just like the thing to like try and kill someone else's kid, or like take another kid just to be yours, or whatever he was going to do. It's just like,
that's why that scene works so well, is you kind of don't know. You know that he's bound it up, and you don't know, like when even when he's being happy-go-lucky with the kids going, "Where be me cutlass," and all that stuff. It's funny, but it's also like, fuck, this is covering up something horrible that we know.
You can feel something is going to happen with that kid. Like, you know.
Yes, and you
they're
don't
not
know.
just going to play and move on. You just, the beginning of that scene, you're like, that kid, something's about to happen. Like,
but nothing does, because it's not that kind of film. But we don't know that at that point as an audience. We're worried for him. But yeah, it's a masterclass in that. It's one. Overall, this whole film is one of Pacino's greatest performances, even if the film isn't. But the performance from Pacino is like,
yeah, definitely, yeah,
absolute top tier.
That's what I mean. You can't have this film without those performances. Like, if they put in Bill Cosby and Jack Lemmon, it would have been good, but like, we wouldn't be talking about it now, I don't think.
No, it would have faded into obscurity.
I don't know. Maybe not.
Jack
Maybe
Lemmon.
it'd be like the
Jack
one.
Lemmon, maybe.
Lemon's great.
Yeah, Lemon's great.
But yeah, I think that the moment it's unravel when he has that abuse, when he's so fucked up in prison, he's changed, but he won't let on too much when they first come out. That's why when they go to that bar at first, he seems fairly normal, but he orders a lot of alcohol. He gets drunk himself, and as his face turns when he sees everyone else laughing, he's like, actually, I see beyond the laughs now. I know these laughs are covering up true feelings. I mean, I've got to be honest. Everything that woman says to him on the phone is like, well, she's right. She's not wrong. Yeah. And I don't blame her for saying he died. It's like, what you've abandoned us.
What are you going to contribute to this?
He's went off to
I've
sea,
already got a
didn't he?
new husband.
Yeah, he went off to sea. He did, yeah, but he ran away.
You don't know the circumstances, of why he went to sea. He obviously clearly did run away.
But like, if you take into account his attitude to life, anything serious, he
ran away from.
He has to. Oh no, I can't deal with that.
Bottle it down, ignore it.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, you're pregnant. I'm getting the fuck out of here. But then from a distance, send that money. I mean, I don't blame that woman at all. I was glad that she did respond the way she did.
But also, she probably knows he's just going to turn up and like cause a chaos. Like,
well, I think she just wants to hurt him at that point, because when she answers that phone, she's feeling a lot of fucking emotions. She's hurting like fuck. Like, how dare you turn up unannounced after 5 years?
Yeah.
At least he called rather than just turn up like he said. And that's the thing. Pacino's very likable in this film, but he did a fucking awful thing. Much worse than anything Hackman's done in the film.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. What did
remember
Hackman go to prison for?
Yeah, I was about to say, what was it? Did they say?
They didn't say. That was going to be like one of my questions, but they didn't really say it. They only see them go to prison for beating up the people in the bar.
I mean, he went away to prison for 7 or 8 years, I think they said. So
Yeah.
it must have been pretty serious what he did.
Paedophilia, probably.
That would have changed the whole game.
Imagine at the end he was like, get these children away from me.
The police come in, you know you've got a restraining order, Maxie, come on. Back to jail.
That probably would have elevated the film. I'd be like,
dear.
fuck.
Paul was waiting on that plot twist.
When's he going to be a paedophile? That's what I'm waiting for.
Is it where he got the money
mate.
from? Did he ever say that's like he might have stolen money?
I think he was saying all of his paychecks, he would take £15 and the rest he would send to the bank. $15 and the rest he would send to the bank. I think that's what he said. Or for all of his work orders or something that he was getting while he was in jail. Maybe, something like that. It's a whole thing is a character study, and it's a study on how you approach life and how you think in life. I like to try and balance out. I used to be very angry. I am still, but I used to be very angry all the time at everything and everyone. And I think at the time I thought it was healthy, and I liked feeling that way because I felt like I was protecting myself from situations and people.
Yeah.
But then I realized you have to let that go, because what you're doing is you're keeping people at arm's length, and you're also shutting down experiences as well. And I changed that about 10 and a bit years ago. Before I met you boys, I was angry when I met you boys, but light-hearted angry. Yeah,
These damn boys, I'm angry.
You're a very passionate man, Ben. That's what you are.
But it's not. No, it's not even passion. It's that anger seems like passion. If you're angry at things, it seems like passion, and that's fine. But you also, like, passion can come from love and humor and all of that sort of stuff as well, which is what the film is showing us to an extent. But it's just that the two extremes aren't right. One can't exist without the other. If I was going to pick, like, on the spectrum, right? If we were a Scarecrow, this podcast, I would say, Paul, you got a stick that goes up the middle, because you have the right balance of anger at times and joviality. Adam he's got it on him. He's tattooed on him. He's carefree to the nth degree, to the point where he barely commits to anything. And I'm the sort of, or was the Gene Hackman side, rigid. This is the way that things need to be, and this is how I want it to be.
Now you're Gene Hackman at the end.
Now I'm Gene Hackman at the end. And you're
Nice.
going to be in a coma very soon, Adam, not speaking and unresponsive to everyone.
By Ben's doing to knock you out.
Yep.
That's a good analogy. I like it.
There's got to be learnings in life, and this film makes me. This is why it's a great film, because great films you shouldn't be able to just, a film ends and then you're like, yeah, that was good, on to the next one. You have to reflect, think. Does it make you think? Does it make you?
Yeah.
Just stop you in your tracks and go, that's interesting.
I agree. It's probably more for me. It's one of those ones where I like talking about what it's trying to say rather than watching it. That's how I experience these kind of films. Same with Grand Boeuf. It's better to talk about than watch it for me. But the unmistakable that it's got some great performances in. I'm not saying that.
I like the internal dialogue that I have in my head when watching them, though, because, like, yes, this is why this podcast is so good to me, because all the shit that I have in my head after I watch a film, you can write a letterbox review, yes, but you're just writing into the void. Yeah, it's kind of like a good therapy. It's like therapy, not for problems. It's therapy because you encounter this thing. All three of us encounter something we wouldn't normally watch. None of us would normally watch Scarecrow. We come here and we unpack it, we unpick it, we talk about things that we wouldn't talk about.
And it's nice to have we're clearly three very different people, as you've said. So it's nice to have an outlook from three very different people.
Yeah.
We like very different things normally.
We like very different things, but we're also on the same page with a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
We build a caricature about the fact that we're all like different things, but we don't really. The podcast host mentality. I mean, all this is bullshit. This is, the podcast is a lie in many respects, as it is for all our podcasting friends, because this voice that listeners are hearing now, actually not this voice.
Please suddenly change your voice. This isn't my voice.
The way that I'm talking now actually is how I feel. But when we talk, when we start up a podcast episode and we're ribbing each other and all that, like before we hit record, we're not talking to each other like that. Yeah, and so we come on and we perform a little bit, and that's
kind of podcasting a mask on.
Yeah. And in a way, it's a defense mechanism, whether you know it or not. It's kind of a front, because if we actually took away this podcasting host duty and forgot that there is an audience out there, which I do for the most part, I think we all do, but at the same time we're aware that we have to speak and go, now what about this, what about that? Like if us three were sat in a pub or a living room, we wouldn't go, right, now let's talk about this. We would just naturally come to it.
Yeah.
And I think this idea of a performance to protect yourself is something that everyone does in life, but Pacino's character does it to the nth degree, to the point where it is debilitating, because we're never actually seeing his true self. We're seeing his sweet spirit, but we're not really seeing who he is, where we are seeing who Hackman is.
I know you say this like podcast is also almost like a front for us, but as I think as well, it's as much a front as it is a therapy.
Yeah.
It works in both ways.
It was in therapy. I mean, we don't have to go into it, but, would listeners know when we did Le Grand Bouffe that in the past week before that, all of us had like this tumultuous fucking time personally?
Exactly.
You don't bring that in. You take that. You leave it at the door, and you escape. And that's.
I would honestly say that the podcast
is.
helps me get through it, because it's my outlet just for a little bit of joy in my week.
Normality.
Yeah, well,
it's your space to control.
And there'll be joy elsewhere, of course, naturally. But you're right; it does. There are times when I know we have to do the podcast, and I don't want to do it. But there are times where I'm like, oh man, I'm feeling a certain way personally, and it's like now I have to get on the mic and record this thing. But as soon as we start doing it, I'm in it.
Yeah.
I've definitely gone through things like that before as well. Yeah, it's like I've got enough on my plate right now. I don't need to be recording a podcast as well.
Yeah,
but it is regardless of that. It's because we love each other. It's just nice to talk to each other. That is the therapy.
It's performative and therapeutic at the same time.
I would open up a car wash with the both of you.
Bless your soul.
I'm not fucking washing any cars, mate.
No, we don't wash the cars. We get a machine to wash.
I'll sit in the office and I'll pound the money.
We'd all just what do you call it? Just sit in the office and watch films, and the machine can be doing the car washing.
That's exactly why we would go out of business immediately.
The machine. This is a Breaking Bad model. You open up the car wash. I'm going to be washing the money, mate.
Yeah. I've got another film comparison to make that this reminded me of after the fact. Is Pacino's character is Blanche Dubois from Streetcar Named Desire, because she also liked to hide truth and wanted to live in fantasy to the point where it drove her to madness. Absolutely.
Wasn't she like catatonic at the end?
Well, she was still speaking, but she was...
Oh, okay. I thought she was on... I remember being on a bed or something.
Imagine getting such a trauma, emotional trauma, that you went catatonic. It's mad. It felt very... One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest right at the very end.
It was that,
I can't remember which came first. This, I think. Yeah, this.
And Gene Hackman is the chief throwing the sink out the window.
Yeah. I like the final shot because it was both beautiful and funny and tragic that he has to give up the car wash dream, but it's beautiful because he's going back to look after his friend. He's going to go to all that effort to come back for someone, which is beautiful. The plan has changed. And then I love the reveal that the money is in the heel of his shoe, so you understand that. And then the ridiculousness that it ends with him just trying to bang that heel back into place on the counter. And then it just cuts to the credits.
The ending is just, it's just like, it's like, okay, is that it? That is literally like, you're never going to end this type of film, are you? So it just ends at a point.
It felt like a very Coen Brothers type ending. The kind of bizarre scene you would see that would end a Coen film, and you'd be like, huh?
They probably think this is the greatest film that's ever been made.
I think it kind of gives you more of a snapshot. Like, this is a snapshot of someone's life. It's not a beginning to end kind of thing. This story is carrying on. As soon as the credits roll, it's still going on with this guy hitting a shoe against a counter.
I really loved it. I thought it was a great, just look at people and how they can be very different, but still need each other, be very connected and whatnot. It'd be boring if everyone was the same.
Yeah, for sure. I had a feeling you would like this film.
Yeah, loved it.
Yeah.
I just want to say shout outs to Pacino several times in the film doing a British accent.
Oh, yes, he did.
Particularly when he was doing the Long John Silver stuff at the end, which is both funny and very tragic at the same time. It's very uncomfortable to watch because it's like, this is kind of funny. Look at Pacino doing that. But at the same time, it's like, what's going to happen?
It's the embodiment. It's like the embodiment of putting on a brave or funny face to hide your trauma.
Yeah. Where be me cutlass? You know, Pacino, man, he does so much with the eyes. And the other thing to add about that scene, the one thing that makes that scene horrendously tense is the sound of the fountain is almost roaring the whole time in the background.
It's almost like it's a river rather than like
Yes,
a calm,
it is.
tranquil fountain.
Exactly.
I mean, it's a pretty big fountain.
It is very big.
They don't make that much noise.
Roaring, splashing away. Anyway.
Literally going to the top of it like King Kong.
Yeah. Should we do scores?
Let's do some scores.
Scores on the doors.
Okay. Well, you might be surprised that after all of that, I only give this an 8 out of 10. It's not because it isn't great. I loved it. I really fucking loved it. I just think that for me, so much of it just hinged on the performance and the script to an extent. And there were a couple of lulls in the narrative overall, but I would love to watch this again, and I will watch it again 100%. And it is such a great thinker and thing to talk about, and it makes me think about myself as well. Super strong 8.
That's good. Lovely.
Mine's a super strong 7. Top of the 7's probably as close to an 8 as you could possibly go.
Nice
If
enough.
I was OT, I'd give it a 7.9.5.
I don't think he goes that specific. It's 9.5. 7.9.5.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, I'm almost on the same idea as Ben. I feel like it very much hinges on the performances, and I just wanted a little bit more from the story for me. So I'm giving it a 6.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Do we get a 7 then?
We get a clear
Straight
one.
up 7.
Straight up 7. So that means it is going to compete. I feel like this happened not so long ago. Like literally last. Anyway, the first
That
film.
was Ends, wasn't it? It went up against.
Okay. Well, the first film it's going up against is Halloween Kills, and of course, Halloween Kills is better for me.
Halloween Kills is better, but I can't possibly say it because I gave it a 5. So, and I've upgraded my score since. So, just to go with the podcast, until I change it, it needs to go above Halloween Kills.
All right, Adam, is it better than Halloween Kills for you?
Yes.
Okay. The Orphanage next. It's better than The Orphanage.
Yes.
Okay.
Orphanage is better.
Still it goes. Shame is better than Shame.
Yes.
Ooh.
Okay, still it
Go on,
goes.
carry on.
Solo is better than Solo.
Yes.
Solo's better.
Adam, you agree it's better than Solo, do you?
Yes.
You gave Solo an 8.
Did I? Well, my gut tells me it's better, so I'm going.
It needs to go below Solo.
So what do we
Fuck
do here?
Scott,
What do
fuck
we do
the
here?
numbers. It's all about
It
your
can't
gut.
because Adam gives Solo an 8.
Oh, Paul, fuck your numbers. It's all about your gut feeling.
Well, mate, this is why you've got to change your scores at the end of a year. That's where it can't go above Solo, I'm afraid. I'd love it to, but the two of you rate Solo higher, so it cannot. So that's where it sits. It would have battled Wild at Heart next, and I would have said it's better than Wild at Heart as well.
Wild at Heart.
So there it is. It sits.
Wild at Heart.
It sits kind of like mid bottom of the 7s.
Mid-bottom.
It's about 125th roughly out of all the films we've done. That's harsh for a film that's so good. It's actually very near, not very near, but it's significantly nearer the bottom than it is the top. That's harsh, very, very harsh.
For sure.
I mean,
For such a great
125
film.
sounds like it, but that's how many films
We
you've
also
actually done
always
now.
pick good films as well, so that's the thing. That's why it's not
Yeah.
many below it.
It's true.
Apart from Cats, but then fucking where is Cats now? Is Cats higher than this?
How can Cats be
No.
higher than this?
It's number
Julio
2.
gave it like an 8 or something.
Yeah, but the rest of us gave it nothing. It's still like second from bottom.
Okay. I might change my score of cats to like a -10. Like,
Yeah.
bring it through the floor.
Well, there you go. That's where it goes anyway.
Lovely. There we go. Do we go on to what we're doing at the beginning of next year, or are we just going to? Are we going to do that at the end of next episode?
No, let's do it here. We've already told people that we're going to be doing so. Basically, we're only doing a Christmas film now this year. We're doing Home Alone 3 commentary, and then we will return to 2023 in January because we have commitments. We have to get things ready for Christmas, etc. and whatnot. So, but I will tell you boys now what film we'll be kicking off 2023 with. Yes?
Yes, please.
A film that I actually already watched earlier this year and actually already spoke about in an end of month wrap up, but I said at the time that I wanted to rewatch it almost as soon as I'd finished it, and I think it would make for a very good conversation. So I'm going to leave my score and my comments up on Letterboxd, but I'd ask you boys, just don't read them because then we can revisit again because I can't be bothered to remove them and whatnot. We'll be watching Oliver Reed in Revolver.
Oh, lovely.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Oliver Reed in Revolver. You want the
very good
plot synopsis?
Nah.
You can do.
You do. An
See the
Italian...
opposite side of the spectrum we are. Nah.
I know.
You
I
can
know.
do.
He couldn't give a fuck. Directed by Sergio Salima, an Italian prison official's wife is kidnapped, and the kidnappers demand a notorious prisoner be released in order for the man to get his wife back. He gets the man released, but then kidnaps him himself in order to ensure the man's colleagues don't kill his wife.
Oh, baby. That sounds good.
Okay, now I'm interested.
You should have been interested anyway. I wouldn't pick a bad
but now
film.
I'm interested.
But yeah, stay away from my Letterboxd comments, and
Will do.
I will just say that my last line in my Letterboxd comment was, "Man, I need a rewatch of this already." So.
Oh, good. That's nice. Nice little tease.
Yeah.
Beautiful stuff. Right. Should we move on to what our patrons have to say this week?
Yep.
Okay, well, our patrons, they let us know what they've been watching the past week, the good and the bad, and we talk about them and let you know whether we think they're right or not. So first of all, we've got Sean Pan and Nicholson, and he says, worst was Cats and Dogs 3. I never even knew they made one, but I wish they didn't. My kids liked it. Best was the Irish comedy Apocalypse Clown. It's only a 6 out of 10, but still the best I've seen this week. I'm still watching Christmas shit films. It's a good and an ambitious story, great characters, and I liked it, but I think it would have really suited a League of Gentlemen style TV show instead of a film. Having said that, when the jokes land, they land wonderfully, but I won't be rushing back to rewatch it anytime soon. Anyway, love you guys and all who sail on you.
Oh, very
Bless that
nice.
man.
I'm not watching either of those films.
No.
What was the name of the second film? I only heard Cats and Dogs 2.
Apocalypse Clown.
Oh, right.
Sounds like a film Adam would watch.
Yeah?
Definitely
I watched
does.
that, I mean, we talk about it in the end of the month wrap up. I watched that sharks exploitation thing, Ben.
Oh, you did watch it, did you?
Yeah. It's very interesting.
It is interesting, isn't it?
Even just like the whole category of those, what do you call it? Asylum films of like, they're just weird and wacky and like...
Yeah, you know that one film that they said taboo? The one that was taboo with the sharks in that. I watched that one when I was doing my 1001 film journey at the time, and I was like, this is fucking smart for a film all the way back then with its limited means, silent film, to be essentially putting a shark in the film and actually filming with a convincing... Anyway, yeah. It's a good documentary, Paul. Paul, you would like it as well. It's very, very good.
Would.
It's very more like they was just saying how they would make a film would be like, give me giant shark versus 8-headed octopus or something like that.
Yeah.
And that is it. And then you make the film around that title.
Yeah. And it's interesting because rather than sitting through hundreds of crap shark films like Adam has, you can watch this documentary and just see the title and one very quick clip from it as well.
There's so many of them and they're like, oh, I really want to watch that one. And you're like, no, it's going to be awful. They've shown you the only good part of the film.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And often the only good part of the film, in inverted commas, is the name of the film. Like 8-headed shark.
Time,
8-headed shark meets turkey monster.
Turkey monster.
And then you see turkey monster and 8-headed shark, and you're like, right, seen that, I can now go to the shop for a Mars bar.
Yeah. Anyway,
thanks Sean for watching Sharksploitation.
Yeah. Yes. It's in the same category. Should we hear from Jameer Russell?
That's it, yeah.
Yes,
Jameer
Russell.
Jameer Russell.
He's French, he's still from the Grand Le Bouffe.
Sounds like you're doing a Scottish accent though.
No,
Jimmy Russell.
Maybe he is,
Yeah, he's put an R on the end of his name instead of an E.
I probably did that by accident.
Paul's done that by accident. I'm sorry, Jamie. I never know you'd do that. You're a man who is very, what do you want to call it? Organised. Anyway, do you want to hear what he's been organised and watching?
Let's hear it.
Yes, let's do it.
Ignore all the naysayers and people who don't know what they're talking about and watch The Killer. Welcome back, Mr. Fincher. You have been missed. I can't believe I put off watching this due to the less favourable critiques. Lost count of how many people have said it was boring or that they fell asleep halfway through. This had me completely absorbed in Fincher's unique aesthetics from the very beginning. The voiceover narrative is completely necessary and used to reflect the isolating and self-obsessed world that he lives in. Fincher might not be so comfortable with shooting some of the action, yet it does have one of the most brutal fight scenes that I have seen. But this is still his best film since The Social Network and my favourite since Zodiac.
Oh, wonderful.
I mean,
I need to join the party.
No,
You
you
watched
do.
it, haven't you, Paul?
Yeah, I spoke about it in the last roundup. It was my top
I
film.
couldn't remember that. I can't remember exactly, but yeah.
I guess-
It's very, very good.
I need to squeeze
And
it
the
in
fight scene
before
is
we do
good,
our
to
end
be
of year wrap up.
Yeah, you should do.
I still just don't. I still feel like, even having listened to you, Paul, and having heard Jamie's thing, I feel like it's kind of damning with faint praise because both of you have more or less said it is actually good. Neither of you have been like, "Oh my god, it's so good." You're like,
I said it was. I gave it an 8 out of 10.
I know, but 8 out of 10. Yeah, I know. But
I
you're
said
like,
it's
it is
almost a
actually
9.
good. You were not going crazy for it.
I was saying how great it was.
No.
Adam was the damning one.
I said I just had to work out what it was I was getting myself in for.
I think
Well-
it is going to be a 3 out of 10 when I watch it.
I hope so. Then we can actually truly have a good discussion about it.
Yeah. Where be me cutlass?
Thank you, Jamie.
Best line. This running in contention
Maybe.
for best line so far, I must say.
Maybe.
And finally, the man who brought us 1973, Luke Human, says, firstly, I rewatched Le Grand Boeuf and raised my score to 10 before you released the episode, but after you had recorded. Who knows where that leaves us? Where does it leave us, Paul?
It leaves us with a 9 out of 10. Sorry, mate. It's too late.
Sorry, Luke. You see how much like Gene Hackman Paul is. He has an idea of how things should be, and he just sticks to it. We try and get Adam. See how carefree Adam is. Adam's like, "God, we'll work our way around it." Adam is Al Pacino. I told you, he's Al Pacino in this film.
I'm a
Listen,
Dunkachino.
if you start changing all the rules, then it's going to cause chaos, and the whole
Fuck the
list won't
rules.
make any sense.
All right, Gene Hackman, we understand where you stand.
I'm going to put my jumpers back on now.
Yeah. You're pre-prison Gene Hackman, and I'm post-prison Gene Hackman. Adam is always Pacino. Always Pacino. I'm bringing this feature back. Every film we do now, we have to place ourselves in the film. It's a fun one to do. Anyway, let's get back to what Luke was saying. Hard agree with Jamie Russell, or JR as he calls him, about The Killer. But as he's mentioned it, I'll advocate for 2023's Niad. Based on a true story, sports dramas are unlikely to come much better than this. Don't know what this is. When you're presenting the story of a singular individual, you better have a top-class performance anchoring it. In this case, we get 2. I do know what this is. Benning's physicality is both impressive and believable, and when combined with her power as an actor, provides one of the most interesting characters of the genre. But it's Foster I'm really here for, and the only tragedy is that there are not enough decent roles for her in contemporary cinema. Her understatedly spectacular performance provides a necessary contrast to Benning's Niad, and brings the majority of the empathy and relatability to the production. There's as much departure from real events as you would expect, but it's mainly done to satisfy the medium, and if you're fortunate enough to be unaware of Diana Nyad's accomplishments, works to create a great piece of entertainment. I don't know if I was saying that lady's name correctly, so apologies if not. I did see a clip of this film.
Annette Bening.
Annette Bening and Jodie Foster. I saw a clip of them over a ping pong table.
Her swimming, isn't it? Swimming like across
Oh, is that what it is?
the sea, yeah, from Cuba to Florida.
Very good. Well,
Is that film?
I am unaware of her accomplishments. And it's a 2023 release, so maybe I'll squeeze it in before the end of the year.
9
See if
out of
it makes
10
it-
Luke gives it.
Oh, wow. But the bad is 1994's Getting Even with Dad. I've seen it. I forgot.
You just take a toke on the bong, mate.
I burped and I was trying to swallow it back.
Yeah.
Neither Culkin's eyebrow raising nor Ted Danson's fake ponytail can save this creepily toned excuse for family fun. I've seen it. I forgot all about it. I don't even know if I've logged it in Letterboxd way back in the day.
Is it awful?
Oh, man. I don't remember it. I feel it was fine at the time, but what he has said is exactly what I can remember about the film, and only this is Ted Danson's fake ponytail. Oh, man, I have to watch it now.
It's on Now TV.
I mean, it's probably going to be appalling.
Most likely.
From my memory, I'm going to give it a 5.
It's not that
That's
bad.
what Luke's given it.
Oh, is it? Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm as harsh on it as Luke, but yeah, the ponytail is terrible.
I will avoid. I will not be watching it.
This is around about the time when Ted Danson was... Cheers was getting to the end of its run, so Ted Danson was starting popping up in films like Three Men and a Little Lady and all of that stuff.
Keep himself present on the screen.
Yeah.
Well, wonderful. Thank you, Luke. Good choices there.
Thanks, Luke.
Well, thank you. Thanks to all our patrons. And if you want to become a patron and let us know your best and worst films, you become a patron just like the likes of Sean Pan and Nicholson.
Yes, you can. You can have Jason Clarkson with you.
You can have Luke Bennett with you.
How about Francis Cibarini?
Yeah, we got the double act here. We got Stephen Mark from Movie Drone.
We got the single act from the double act, Brent from Home Video Hustle.
We got Mr. Lukey Human.
You got the man who operates by himself. You got Nerd Revert.
We got another man who's operating by himself, but normally operates with two, Julio.
We got Mr. Jamie Russell, who also operates with two sometimes on a podcast, but he's operating solo today.
And you got Katie and OT who operate in a duo in all walks of life.
Everyone's operating within systems
They're
for
all
some
surgeons.
reason. They're all
like
master
Windows.
surgeons. Master surgeons, master patrons. Only one more episode left this year, boys. Sad times.
I know.
Yeah.
It's been a big year.
It's been a shit year, isn't it? Really bad.
Yeah, horrible. But wonderful to speak to you guys always.
Always. I've enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
Until
everybody,
next time.
look forward to Home Alone 3 next time for a live commentary with the Christmas jumpers and a little bit of alcohol.
Yes, a little bit of Monica by my
In my
side.
life, a
Very
little bit
good,
of
very
Erica
good.
by my side.
Filmsbusters.